More than 50 years after the Beatles split, Paul McCartney is finally opening up about what it truly felt like to walk away from the band that transformed both his life and modern music forever. The Beatles, Paul McCartney, John Lennon, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr officially called it quits in 1970 after years of creative clashes, personal tension, and the loss of their manager, Brian Epstein. Disagreements over new management, particularly involving Alan Klein, only deepened the divide. McCartney publicly announced his departure in April 1970, though Lennon had quietly told the others he was leaving months earlier. In September 1969, by December 1974, the band's legal separation was complete. The story of the Beatles started way back in 1956 with McCartney and Lennon. Harrison joined the following year, and later came Stu Sutcliffe and Pete Best. The group officially became the Beatles in 1960. A year later, Sutcliffe left, and in 1962, Ringo Starr replaced Best just as the band landed their first recording contract. Over the next decade, they released 12 studio albums, toured the world, and redefined what global stardom meant. By 1964, they weren't just musicians, they were a cultural revolution. Now, McCartney is ready to tell the full story in his upcoming memoir, Wings, The Story of a Band, coming November 4th. The book will chronicle his journey from the Beatles' early days to their final moments, told entirely from his perspective. A preview published by Vulture on Thursday highlights one infamous chapter, the Paul is Dead conspiracy. Back in 1969, rumors claimed that McCartney had died in a 1966 car crash and was secretly replaced by a look-alike. The bizarre theory spread quickly after college papers published supposed clues hidden in Beatles albums. It even reached the New York Times, which ultimately debunked the story. At one point, I turned to my new wife and asked, "Linda, how can I possibly be dead?" McCartney recalled in the memoir. She smiled while holding our baby, Mary. Both of us knew how absurd those tabloid headlines were. At the time, Paul and Linda had escaped to Scotland for some peace and quiet. Their marriage lasted 29 years until Linda's passing from breast cancer in 1998. Looking back now, McCartney admits the wild rumors hit closer to home than he once realized. Over half a century later, I think those people might have been onto something. Not literally, of course, but symbolically. "In many ways, I was dead," he wrote. "At 27, I was a soon-to-be ex-Beatle, overwhelmed by legal battles and emotional turmoil, desperately needing a reset. I kept asking myself, can I move on from what was such an incredible decade? Can I rise above all the chaos that seemed to erupt every single day?